Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Fantasy Fellow Show. My name is Kyle. Today we're going to be looking at player prop bets for week 3. I did want to shout out last week we didn't do a live show, but we did post 7 bets. We went 5 of 7. We hit on Nick Chubb, Christian McCaffrey, Najee Harris, Mike Evans, and Kyler Murray. That brought our season total up to, well, we were 9 of 15. So far, so good. I do have a huge list of player prop bets here listed right now, but I'm going to whittle them down. I'm going to just lock in about 7 or 8 of them, and then I'll leave the rest because I'm interested in them. So that's for your consideration. And then before we get into it, I just want to say I saw some nice, we're using DraftKings Sportsbook. Let me do a screen share real quick. Using DraftKings Sportsbook, they have a couple of interesting player prop bets here. They have the Gary V special, Michael Carter to have 12 plus receiving yards boosted to 110. I do think that one's very likely that he hits that one. There's also a couple ones you can opt in now for NFL risk-free same game parlay up to $25. 20% boost on every afternoon game this Sunday. So that one's a fun one as well. So let's hop into it. We're going to hop into the Cardinals and the Jaguars. We're still waiting to see what's up with DeAndre Hopkins. He did not practice all week, so my eyebrows were raised at that. We'll see if he's a good to go. But just looking at these real quick, again, if you watch the show, our best bets have been statistically, we've done the best on touchdown bets. So Kyler Murray, minus 110 to get a rushing touchdown feels pretty good. Again, I don't know if I can bet on DeAndre Hopkins right now. We have to see if he's going to play. James Robinson has the 3rd best number here at plus 150. But the guys that stuck out to me, James Conner, maybe a rushing touchdown for him, plus 190. Marvin Jones is really the only Jaguars receiver I would trust to score, but I'm probably not even going to pick a Jaguar. And then Rondale Moore, man. Especially if DeAndre Hopkins can't go, I think Rondale Moore is going to be fun. Plus 190 to score right now. So that one does feel pretty good where you could lock in that plus 190. I would imagine if DeAndre Hopkins is listed as out, those numbers would change pretty significantly. So I do like Rondale Moore, James Conner, Kyler Murray rushing touchdown, and the rest seems a little unpredictable. Let me just do some due diligence here and just look at the numbers real quick. James Conner only needs 39 rushing yards. Chase Edmonds, though, between rushing and receiving, he needs to hit 77. That should be doable for him. And then as far as receiving yards real quick, let's see here. Marvin Jones needs 65. Laviska needs 48. James Conner only needs a 4-yard catch, but he hasn't caught a ball all year. I'm just a little hesitant on this game, so I'd rather take some of those high percentage touchdown odds and go with that. The Ravens and the Detroit Lions here. This one should be a fun game. I think the Lions are a little bit peskier than people realize. Lamar Jackson, minus 105 to get a rushing touchdown. But I think I'd like the Marquise Brown, Tyson Williams, or Mark Andrews bets. If you're going to take any Raven to score, these are the 3 that you're looking at. Marquise Brown has been fantastic, probably going back to like his last 8 or 9 games, even to last year. So Marquise Brown plus 115 makes a lot of sense. But I kind of like Tyson Williams here to score at plus 140. That one I think I might put on the list. And then Mark Andrews, he just hasn't hit yet through 2 games. So maybe this is his hit week against Detroit. And then if you're going to pick a line, it's clearly DeAndre Swift or TJ Hawkinson. And interesting, if you go to the fantasyfellowship.com, I have these posted. But the Ravens have allowed the most points to the tight end position. I know they played Kelsey and Darren Waller, but 2 touchdowns, 245 yards, and 19 catches. That could be pretty good for TJ Hawkinson if we view him really close to Waller and Travis Kelsey. I think TJ Hawkinson could be a good option here. And then DeAndre Swift as well. Those are the only 2 lines I would trust to score. Let me just look at the running back receiving props real quick. As far as receiving yards, Marquise needs 58. TJ Hawkinson only needs 62. That one does feel pretty good. And then, I don't know, nothing else really sticks out. I do like Tyson Williams here for 11.5 receiving yards. His over-under for the whole game is 71. So I do think he can hit that. DeAndre Swift needs 79 yards. Nothing in here for Jamal Williams, which is interesting. We'll see what's up with that. Did he not practice this week? Let me just double check real quick here. Yeah, he's not even on the injury report, so that's kind of weird. But as far as Ravens and Lions, I think it's a little easy for me to say Hawkinson or Swift are the best touchdown odds. And then again, with the Ravens, I think this could be a get-right game for Mark Andrews. He needs a touchdown plus 125 right there. And then Marquise Brown, man, he's been hot. We did see they lost Deebo Samuel week 1, and they didn't allow too much against the Packers in terms of big receiving plays. But Marquise Brown against the Lions does seem pretty likely. So I do like those guys. Let me move on to the next game, the Colts and the Titans. I'm going to have a hard time putting anything on the Colts in this one because we just don't know what's going on with Carson Wentz. But I do think, I mean, Derrick Henry minus 215 to score a touchdown. It doesn't feel good, but I mean, I guess if you want free money, I guess what is a $20 bet? It pays out $9.30, so under 50% return. But hey, it's free money if you just want to lock in Derrick Henry and make a quick almost 50% bet. That's fine. But AJ Brown, that one does feel pretty good. He didn't have the best game last week, so I would double down on him. Plus 125 to score. Julio Jones plus 165. I can't even really consider doing a Colt bet until I know if Carson Wentz is going to be the guy. If Wentz plays, sure, Jonathan Taylor could be interesting. They just the Titans allowed Chris Carson to get 2 touchdowns last week, so that does make sense to me. Derrick Henry needs 101 yards to hit his over here. I feel pretty good about that one. AJ Brown, though, he only needs 70 yards. We know he can do that in one play. It's a divisional game against an opponent at home, so I like that quite a bit. As far as the other receivers, I guess Julio Jones, that's pretty low at 63. Those odds are minus 120, so that makes sense to me. But I'm probably just gonna go with AJ Brown. 70 and a touchdown feels very likely for him, I think. So let's move on to the Falcons and the Giants. I really like this game. This one's kind of a fun one. Both teams need a win, and Saquon Barkley is back. He's coming off 10 days rest. I like that he got that Thursday night game to get the extra 3 or 4 days rest. He looked good, I thought, just in limited touches, but he got a lot of snaps. So I think Saquon Barkley, his days of being viewed as an injured, a fringe running back too, are over. He's probably going to be a top 10 running back this week. He's plus 100 to score, so I like that one. Any other Giants to score, I don't really feel great about it, but Sterling Shepard, I would look there at plus 165. I'm waiting to see what's up with Kenny Golladay because he was limited all week. If he's a go, maybe Kenny Golladay finds the end zone this week. But the Falcons, man, they do allow the second most fantasy points to tight end. They've allowed 3 touchdowns, 144 yards, and 12 total receptions. I know they played Gronk last week, but this week we get Kyle Pitts. Maybe this is his first career touchdown. I'm probably going to be interested in that bet. So Kyle Pitts plus 150 makes a lot of sense to me. You can always go Calvin Ridley too at plus 120. We just saw Terry McLaurin kind of carve up James Bradbury there. So I do like those guys. Let me just take a peek here at the running receiving props. Calvin needs 82. Golladay needs 49. Kyle Pitts needs 54. That one does feel pretty good. Sterling Shepard only needs 62 yards. That feels pretty good as well. As far as the rushing, Saquon Barkley only needs 63, but I think I'd rather wait and just maybe take the touchdown on this one. No Cordero Patterson ones. That's interesting. I kind of was hoping to lock some of those in. But a fun game here between 2 0-2 teams. The Chargers and the Chiefs. This is the one game that you probably want to get some props in for sure, as the over-under for this game has the most implied point total. Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, they have the same odds to score, minus 140, minus 140. If I had to lean one way, I'm probably going to take Tyreek Hill. He had a bad game last week. I wouldn't expect him to have 2 in a row. So Tyreek Hill is probably my favorite between the two. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I don't know what to do with Clyde Edwards-Helaire anymore. We need more data points, and we need to see him have a big game before I think I trust him again. Austin Eckler is an interesting option here. If we go to the running back numbers, the Chiefs have allowed the 3rd most fantasy points to running back. They've allowed 4 touchdowns on the season. That's the most in the league. Only 7 catches for 62 yards. So I think we're going to see Eckler kind of put a ding into that number, but 4 rushing touchdowns, and we could maybe see Austin. We saw Austin Eckler get the goal line carry in week 1, so maybe he at plus 120 is an interesting guy to look at here. Mike Williams is rolling though, plus 150 for Mike Williams to score. Mike Williams also had his big breakout game against this team here. Let me go to StatMuse, type in Mike Williams versus Chiefs game logs, and what was it? Yeah, a couple of years ago, he had the 2 touchdown game. Last year, he played well against them. Why is that saying? Oh, yeah, this was in 2021, but he goes 6 for 108 and a touchdown. So some big games from Mike Williams against the Chiefs in the past. I could see him fighting the end zone, and he's just been so hot lately. I think he's an interesting guy. But if you're going to bet in this game, really it's Tyreek or Kelce. Those are the only 2 guys for touchdowns. On the Chargers side, it's Eckler, Mike Williams. Maybe Keenan Allen finds his first touchdown of the year at plus 170. I think that's a pretty good bet there too. And then maybe Jared Cook. He's at plus 190. I can see that happening as well. Let's look at the running and receiving props. Nothing sticks out for the rushing yards. Tyreek Hill, 3 yards rushing is interesting. But Austin Eckler needs 41. Jared Cook needs 38. Keenan Allen needs 82. and Travis Kelce needs 89. Tyreek Hill needs 81. Mike Williams only needs 69, so that one actually feels pretty good too. So those are all interesting options for you. As far as receptions, these guys are all kind of high at reception, so I might avoid the receptions. But man, so far this is gonna be a fun game. I just want to look at the QB props. They got Justin Herbert at 301.5, Mahomes at 303.5. So there's going to be a lot of yards in this one. As far as passing touchdowns go, if you want some free money, maybe Justin Herbert hits the 2. They're saying Patrick Mahomes needs 3, and this team, this Chargers defense, is a pretty good secondary. So that one's kind of interesting. We'll see how that goes. Interceptions right there. Mahomes rushing plus passing for Mahomes 323.5. That one's interesting. But yeah, so far, like I again, if you've watched the show, we do best with the touchdown props, so I would say stick with those. Let's move on to the Bengals and the Steelers. I'm not too excited about this game, but there was a couple touchdown props here. Najee Harris is kind of low-hanging fruit, -125 to score. Just with this offense and Big Ben being limited, I think that is probably where I'd like to go. But Chase Claypool, we know Deontay Johnson's out, so Chase Claypool at 165 to score a touchdown feels pretty safe for me. I mean, if there's anyone that's going to score a touchdown in this game, I would say Chase Claypool probably sticks out to me. It's the Bengals defense. We'll see what happens. And then on the Bengals side, if anyone's going to score a touchdown against the Steelers defense, you're probably looking at Jamar Chase or Tyler Boyd here. Tyler Boyd at +220 makes a lot of sense. And then again, with no T. Higgins in this one, I would expect Jamar Chase and Tyler Boyd to be heavily involved in the offense. As far as receptions here, or receiving yards, Tyler Boyd only needs 58. That feels low. Jamar Chase needs 62. I think I'm liking the Tyler Boyd line here. Chase Claypool up here at 62. Juju at 63. Receptions totals here. Claypool would need 5. Jamar would need 5. Tyler Boyd, though, and people are hitting this one up, -160 to hit over 4.5. Interesting game. I think this is going to be one of the lower scoring games of the week, though. So if you're feeling risky, Chase Claypool, I could see, and then I'd probably just roll with Najee Harris. If you're choosing a Bengal, it's Jamar Chase or probably Tyler Boyd. But let's go look at the Saints and the Patriots. I really don't know if I can recommend anything strongly in this game. If you're choosing someone from the Saints, it's literally only Alvin Kamara at -120. If you're going for the Patriots, you got to choose a running back, James White or Damian Harris. They both have the same odds. I would maybe lean Damian Harris this week. Maybe just stay away from that one. And then receiving rushing props real quick. Let me see where James White is at. James White only needs 50 yards. That one is, a pretty good number for him. As far as receiving yards, again, I just don't really feel great about this one. Mac Jones versus Jameis Winston. I'm probably just going to ignore that and stick with the touchdowns I gave you guys just a bit ago. So let's move on to the football team at Buffalo Bills. This one's a fun one. Stephon Diggs has the best odds to score at +100. Josh Allen there, rushing touchdown from Josh Allen, +125. I liked Antonio Gibson to score a touchdown. I know a lot of people were frustrated with Antonio Gibson last week because of J.D. McKissick, but we saw week 1 that Antonio Gibson had a shoulder thing, and then you get a short week. On Thursday Night Football, you saw a little bit more McKissick than we wanted to. And I think that was the game plan by design, is to limit Antonio Gibson this week so that he stays healthy. He's ready to roll against the Buffalo Bills. So Antonio Gibson +150 makes sense to me. Singletary and Zach Moss, if I had to choose between one, I'm going to go with Zach Moss because we know he has the goal line role. And then you could see Terry McLaurin. I know he's got a tough matchup against Tre'Davious White, but Emmanuel Sanders, Dawson Knox, those guys are some riskier bets for the touchdown score there. Let's look at the running receiving props. Let's see. So Antonio Gibson, 16.5. J.D. McKissick only needs 19 yards. Let's see. Stephon Diggs down here at 80 yards. That one feels pretty good. I like Diggs here. Terry McLaurin, he needs 72 yards. I still want to see him perform one more game with Heineke before I make any judgments. But I like Diggs to get 80 yards. I do like maybe Singletary to hit 16 yards feels pretty good. And then Emmanuel Sanders only needs 45. He's been kind of the clear number 2 option in that offense. And the Washington secondary just has not been very good. I mean, they've allowed the 6th most fantasy points to wide receivers, 39 catches. Only one team has allowed more receptions than the Washington football team. So that seems like an easy target here for Stephon Diggs. So I think Stephon Diggs, man, we're going to lock in a Diggs touchdown. Let's go back to that. Let's lock in a Diggs touchdown and for him to hit his 80 yards. That one I think we will do. Let's move on to what's next. The Bears and the Browns. All right, so Justin Fields time. Justin Fields, he has plus 190 odds for a rushing touchdown. And let me just tell you, the Cleveland Browns allow the third most fantasy points to the position. I know that they have played, again, they've played the Chiefs, and then who did they play last week? I can't remember who Cleveland played. They played Houston, so that's kind of weird, right? But they allowed 2 rushing touchdowns through 2 games, and now they get Justin Fields at plus 190. I'm gonna click it. I'm probably gonna roll with that one. We've seen Justin Fields rush for a touchdown already this season, so it's in the cards for sure. Nick Chubb seems like low-hanging fruit, minus 125. That's really it. I think as far as, we need data points on Justin Fields. I'm excited for Allen Robinson. I'm excited for Darnell Mooney. I think I'd rather bet their rushing and receptions prop, or their receiving and receptions props instead of touchdowns right now. I think once they get close, it's probably Fields or Montgomery that are going to punch it in. And then for the Browns, it's Chubb and Hunt. Who knows about Odell Beckham? I don't know if I can put a bet on him in his first game back. Let me look at these wide receiver running props here. So Fields needs 53.5 yards. That seems a little high. Nick Chubb only needs 75 yards. Allen Robinson needs 58 total yards. I like the Darnell Mooney one, though. Darnell Mooney only needs 39 yards, and he's on the field the most as a Chicago receiver. So Darnell Mooney at 39 seems pretty dang good to me. Again, Odell Beckham, he's down here at 46. If you want to try it, you can try that one. That one seems to make sense. As far as receptions go, Darnell Mooney only needs 4. People are kind of betting that one up. But this is the first game of Justin Fields. I'd be a little bit hesitant to do some things, but I like the rushing touchdown prop. Let me look at the weekly special. Chicago Bears over 2.5 sacks plus over 0.5 receptions plus wow. So that's a lot of the Chicago Bears defense stats. I don't know if I'm going to take that one. But let's move on to what's next. The Broncos and the Jets. We're going to be quick with this one. I think the Broncos, these are the favorites to score. Why didn't that show up? Let me see here. The Broncos touchdowns are not in yet, so that's a little unfortunate. I don't know what they're waiting for, but the rushing receiving props, they got Javonte Williams at 53.5, Melvin at 50.5, Ty Johnson 34.5. No numbers for Michael Carter. What the hell? Receiving numbers, where's Braxton Berrios? I want to get Braxton Berrios in there, but Cortland Sutton only needs 65.5 yards. That feels really good. Some other guys here. Tim Patrick only needs 42. I don't know if I'm going to take that one, but let's see. KJ Hamler needs 28. Javonte only needs 7.5. If he gets one catch, he can do that easily. But Elijah Moore, he only needs 35.5. That one feels pretty good. I think I'm going to just kind of stay away from this game for the most part. I'll have to check back and see what these touchdown odds are, but we'll just pause on that one and we'll circle back to it. Let me see here. The Dolphins and the Raiders. It looks like Josh Jacobs is not going to play in this one. So I kind of like Kenyon Drake. It's tough here. I think Darren Waller plus 115. That one does feel the most attractive here. I think if there's any other Raider that's going to score, it's probably Kenyon Drake. But Henry Ruggs looked really good last week. I just think the Dolphins secondary is pretty stingy. So if I'm going to take anybody, it's Waller or Kenyon Drake. I really can't advise any Miami Dolphins this week. If you want to do something crazy, take Jacoby Brissett to get a rushing touchdown at plus 310. Let me just take a peek here at the rushing receiving numbers. Kenyon Drake only needs 34.5 rushing yards. That one feels really low. I'm going to do that one. Receiving numbers here. Again, I'm nervous here. I don't feel great about anything, so I'm just going to skip this game for now. With Jacoby Brissett, anything can happen. I just don't know if I have a good read on it. If you're going to put props, though, down in a game, Seahawks and Vikings, this is the game that you want to be in. We don't know if Dalvin Cook's going to play. If he plays, I like him, but minus 175 to score, I'll probably stay away. You're taking Carson, Lockett, or Metcalf to score, and the implied point total of this one is 55 or so points. There should be 3 or 4 touchdowns on both sides for each team. So taking Carson, Lockett, or Metcalf, whatever one you guys feel great about, I would consider doing it. Lockett and Metcalf, man, those guys feel really good. And then you got Adam Thielen and Justin Jefferson down here at plus 105. So especially if Dalvin Cook does not play, I'm running here to get Adam Thielen and Justin Jefferson props here at plus 105. Alexander Madison plus 250 to score. If you don't feel like Cook is going to play, You can lock in a Madison bet right now. KJ Osborne, a little bit of a dark horse here, plus 225. And then you see the tight ends, Tyler Conklin, plus 250, Gerald Everett, plus 290. So there's some fun ones here. I think if you stay within this Lockett, Metcalf, Thielen, Justin Jefferson range, I mean, there's a good chance all 4 of those guys score this week. So play the odds with that one. And then I do like Chris Carson as well. So those are the top 5 plays. Looking at the rushing and receiving numbers real quick. They don't have a Viking player in here yet. Chris Carson needs 70 yards. I'm probably going to say no. But Adam Thielen, 66 yards. DK Metcalf needs 76. Justin Jefferson needs 78. And Lockett needs 77. So that's kind of all in the sweet spot. I almost feel more comfortable with the touchdown there. But yeah, let's just roll with the touchdowns. And then I just want to look at QB props. So I think both guys are hitting the over here. I think we're looking at 2 300-yard passers. So if you're feeling the over on Cousins and Wilson, I like that. And then if you want free money, come hit the overs on these touchdowns. Kirk Cousins, 1.5, minus 160. Russell Wilson, over 1.5, and he's minus 220. So if you want to slap those for some free money, go ahead and do it. Let's move on here. What is next? Tampa Bay and the LA Rams. All right, so let's look at the touchdown scores. Cooper Kupp has the best odds at minus 120. Sony Michel plus 105. Darrell Henderson plus 105. Robert Woods plus 110. Mike Evans plus 125. Godwin plus 140. Gronk at plus 150. I don't get that one. I think I'm going to take that one. That one feels pretty good. And then maybe Tyler Higbee at plus 165. I really won't consider anything else below here. But if you're taking a Rams player, I think Cooper Kupp is the clear guy here for minus 120. And then if you want to take a Bucs receiver, I think Chris Godwin's probably the one I would go with. We would see him probably go more towards the slot, which actually might be Jalen Ramsey. So maybe both guys. If you're feeling it, I would go with both guys and try to win some money on those. But Mike, I guess, so here's the deal. If you put 20 down on Chris Godwin and a 20 down on Mike Evans, and say only one of them hits, you're still making a little bit of money. So there's a good chance that both guys score here too. So I kind of like playing it like that. And then Robert Woods down here too at plus 110. Kind of the same thing because they're all plus odds. So if you bet on both guys to score and one of them hits, you're feeling pretty good. So that's a good way to kind of cover yourself. So Godwin and Evans, you take those in tandem. One of them should hit, and you should be able to cover your bet just by a little bit there. We should look at the QB props real quick. Both quarterbacks over 300 yards. Okay. Both quarterbacks over under 2.5 passing touchdowns. Interesting. I don't care about the running backs in this game, but Godwin, 72 yards. Cooper Kupp only needs 84. Mike Evans needs 66. Rob Gronkowski only needs 42. Bob Woods, 66. I feel best about the touchdowns being scored in this one because I'm not sure how, but they're projecting a ton of yards in this one. So if you feel good about Godwin, Kupp, Evans, Gronk, Robert Woods, I would say go for it. Let me move into, I think we have maybe one more game here. We got the Packers and the 49ers. This one's really easy for me. If you're going to want anything, you take Devontae Adams at minus 110. This is kind of free money to me. He has yet to score a touchdown this season. I guarantee he scores a touchdown in this one. That's like the prop lock of the week. Devontae Adams touchdown. George Kittle, the Packers do allow a handful of tight end points here. So if there's anyone that's going to score for the 49ers that I feel good about, it's probably George Kittle. We could see him have a big breakout game on national TV. Nothing really else makes sense to me here. I think this might be a lower scoring game than we're expecting. As far as the receiving numbers here, you got Devontae Adams at 90 yards. Devontae's had 3 really good games against the 49ers in his career, so that if you're going to do anything with this, I think that's probably where I lay. And then Aaron Jones, I guess Aaron Jones touchdown does make sense, but again, if I'm taking anything in this game, give me the Devontae Adams touchdown. Let me look at the props here. Aaron Rodgers to throw 2 touchdowns, minus 205. I guess that's free money at this point. I don't really like the yards, the over/under yards. And then the interceptions, I guess. No, I'm not interested in the interceptions. Just take Devontae Adams to score that touchdown, and you should be covered for that game. And again, I'm just kind of being quick and vague today, just because we're just purely looking at touchdowns. And then you get the Monday Night Football game, Eagles and the Cowboys here for touchdowns. Ezekiel Elliott minus 135. I want the CeeDee Lamb touchdown at plus 115. That's stupid. That's free money. We know Cooper's dinged up. I like that a lot. As far as wide receivers, I guess Devontae Smith would be my next favorite one to score in this one. So those are the 2 guys I'm going to lock in there. And then looking at the receiving numbers here, CeeDee Lamb only needs 82 yards. I think I'm rolling with that one. And Devonta Smith only needs 52 yards. Those both feel really good. But those touchdowns for Lamb and Smith feel really solid if there's a weekly special here. Dak Prescott plus Jalen Hurts each with a rushing touchdown. If you're feeling fun, you could probably do that. I don't see that. But I don't know, man. Touchdowns, you could go with Ezekiel Elliott, but I just think I want to go with the team's best players in this game, and I think it's Lamb and I think it's Devontae Smith. So I'm going to roll with those. And then that concludes our player props for week 3. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start entering a lot of these in, and I'm going to have a chat with my friend Jesse. But go to thefantasyfellowship.com. There's a link in the description below. Check that out. And then I'm going to lock in about 7 or 8 props, and then I'll show a list of my favorite bets that you should consider. So check out thefantasyfellowship.com. Thank you guys so much for your time. Good luck with your props. And I don't know, we'll see you in the next one. Peace.